Hello, friend. This is Ryan Hicks of talktoprofit.com, and today I want to talk to you about a movement that is kind of rising up. It's called the anti-work or Great Resignation. There's a bunch of different terms for it, but it's basically people quitting jobs and refusing to work and just kind of doing nothing and thinking that's a good life. Now, some of this is understandable because if you look at a lot of these people who are really heavily involved in it, it seems like most of them are working very menial jobs, fast food, just very entry-level stuff, and they never progressed anywhere. So naturally, those people would be more adverse to work because what they associate work with is this misery and drudgery and this basically wage slavery. And who wants to be in that? But the problem with this mindset is the problem with all these kind of lazy mentalities is that it presumes one thing that's complete error. Work is not going and slaving for somebody else. Work isn't doing these entry-level jobs. That can be work, but that doesn't have to be the end of all work, is that menial, awful, terrible job that you hate and makes you miserable every day. And it depends too, because some people will enjoy doing some of these jobs other people hate. So it's not even an objective thing where you can say, well, this is an awful job, because some people like it. The thing is, don't get in that system in the first place then. Instead of putting yourself out there, slaving for somebody else for wages, being miserable, hating every moment of it, why not do something with your life? Why not choose to become something better? Choose to better yourself. And one of the ways you could do that is by being an entrepreneur. I suggest this to people all the time. Now, I understand that not everybody is fit for that, because being an entrepreneur takes a number of steps, and money's not one of them, because many people say, well, you know, it takes money to make money. That's what losers say. There are certainly some industries where that certainly will apply. But for almost everything, if you're just trying to make an abundant living, have enough to give and to share and bless others, and have all your needs and wants met, you don't have to have tons of funds for that. You don't have to get in these multi-billion-dollar industries to be able to carve out a niche for yourself and make a good income. But not everybody's cut out for that, because working for yourself, being an entrepreneur, takes a lot of discipline that many people don't have. It's one of the downfalls of working for someone else is that sometimes your discipline gets trained out of you. Instead, you become a robot of sorts, following orders, doing what you're told, but you don't have any autonomy, and you don't have the ability to do work on your own when there's no one there to tell you what to do or to look over your shoulders or to micromanage you or whatever the case may be. So many people try to be an entrepreneur. They get out and they do stuff. They invest their own money in a business, and it never gets off the ground because they don't have the discipline to do the work, the hard work that's required at first to get the business up and running. And people will talk about, well, you got to work smarter, not harder. Yeah, but at first you may not be able to. You may only be able to work harder because you don't have the money to go buy a robot or automation or hire people to help you in your endeavor. So it's just you, your labor, putting in the time and the effort to get things done. That's many cases what people have to do at first. And in many cases, that is more work than if they're working for someone else. And that is a hindrance to many people becoming entrepreneurs, or at least to becoming successful entrepreneurs, because they never put in that work. They never get it going to such an extent to where they don't have to continue to put that work in. They can have either automation, robotics, something to help automate everything, keep it going, have employees come in and do some of the work, take some of the workload off their own shoulders. They don't have that because they never put in the work in the first place because they don't have the diligence. So I don't want to claim that everyone can be an entrepreneur or be successful at it, but they might be able to. And you don't have to go and start a $100 billion business either. You could start a family business that does very well, start a restaurant. I know a vegan restaurant in Las Vegas does very, very well, brings in millions of dollars a year. They have a couple little restaurants. They do very well. And it's a family affair. There's a family involved. Everybody's getting paid well. The family is thriving and surviving, and they're doing what they want to do, and they love it, and they enjoy it. It didn't start off that way though. It started off very small. And it took a lot of hard work. And there's still a lot of hard work going to this day because if anybody knows about restaurants, it is a big, long time investment. And until you get good management on, it's a lot of long hours. And many businesses in the restaurant industry fail miserably because that just burns people out. Mainly because it's not even what they want to be doing in the first place. If it was something they really enjoyed and really wanted to be doing, it would probably work out differently. But is there something that you like to do that you could monetize and turn into a business that brings some income coming in? Now, I'm not telling you don't set big goals, but first just see how you can bring in $1,000. Don't go for $1 million when you haven't even brought in $1,000 yet. And then once you do that, how can you do that same thing 10 times more? So you bring in $10,000 in a month and go from there. And pretty rapidly, if you'll do that and you'll be intelligent about it and you'll be hardworking and diligent, you will be able to expand and grow into a successful business. You won't have to be on forums whining about work and about your wages and about your boss is this and this company's bad and I'm making all this money for this company and they're not paying me anything. Go do it yourself then. If you are so valuable and making so much money for this company and they're not rewarding you for it, then go start your own business, make that money for yourself, and be rewarded generously. I think some of that is people just telling themselves lies, not being honest with themselves, the fact that they're spending the broad amount of their day in social media and time-wasting activities that's really not producing much. And a lot of this anti-work mentality is because people aren't producing much. They know what they're doing is not valuable. Going and working fast food is not a valuable job. I'm not discrediting or diminishing any of those people, but that's not adding value to the world. Matter of fact, it's adding harm because look around the United States, for example, and it's one of the most obese nations in the world. Not the most obese, but it's getting there. And fast food is everywhere. And you see morbidly obese people waddling into fast food places, and you're serving them that toxic food that is making them even fatter and diminishing their health even more. No one can look at themselves and be proud of that. So it's natural that people wouldn't want to do that. And it's not fun in the first place. And then besides just that, oftentimes dealing with the public is not enjoyable because the kind of clientele that are going to fast food restaurants aren't going to be the best like clientele going to a Neiman Marcus. So that's understandable. People don't want to do that, but don't cut off work because what you're currently doing is not good, or you know someone who's working a bad job, or you know all these jobs that are awful. What does that have to do with you? Do something better then. Become that person of character and substance who betters themselves and goes out and starts something valuable that actually helps the world and blesses the world. Now, what that is going to be different for every individual. But there's probably something you do right now for enjoyment that you could turn around and monetize and bring in some income from. There's something of value that you could provide to the world that's truly of value, so it will provide you an abundance of income. Don't get swayed by this mentality that I'm just going to live off unemployment, or I'm just going to live off welfare, or I'm just going to be a NEET. That will get you nowhere. You'll get nowhere. That's not made to make you get into abundance. That's keeping you just subsisting. That is keeping you just at survival level, never progressing, never moving forward, never getting ahead. And in most workplaces, you're probably not going to get ahead either. It's just kind of an infinite cycle of barely getting by, scraping by each week, each month, year after year, year after year. But if you started your own business, if you had some actual endeavor that you enjoy doing, you don't have to love it, but you enjoy doing it, you see the value you're adding to the world, you see that you're blessing other people and providing them with goods or services that they want and are blessed by, and you can monetize that to the fullest extent, you will be blessed and abundant and rich. And my friend, you don't have to get caught up in these things talking about work isn't good and work's awful. and you ought to just live a life of leisure, because that requires money in and of itself. Unless you want to lead the most pathetic life of leisure in the world, you need to be productive. You need to be diligent in your endeavors and be wise. Not bringing harm to people, not stealing, not leeching. But what can you do today that could be more productive? And I'm not talking about going and working for somebody else, but in your own life, what is it that you could take and monetize and bless the world with? Really think about that. I would encourage you to get a piece of paper and just write down 20 things that you think about that you would enjoy doing that you could maybe monetize. It doesn't matter if all 20 of them are useless. And maybe you can't even get 20. Maybe you can't even come up with 20. That's all right. Just start writing this down and start thinking and meditating on this and praying about this for wisdom from God. And you, my friend, will come up with a great idea. You'll act on it. You'll be diligent in it. And you will bring about great harvests of blessing. My friend, I pray this is a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.